disposal of waste, and so that there's no emission or there's no. I think NEMA seems to be subsumed in some other activities, nobody knows, and that's why you find the level of degradation of our environment is becoming a matter of national concern, yet there isn't much NEMA is doing to ensure things are done. Probably they are so preoccupied with the collecting levies for those housing permits to an extent they have forgotten the core mandate. Honorable Speaker, as we look at river pollution, probably should not even be related and only fixed on a river. This cuts across the entire country, and I would request the committee to really have a thorough audit. I'm sure there are so many reports. Synthesize that report. Let this debate become a national debate, because the only thing we have is our rivers, our marine life, our lakes, everything that we have. If we destroy them now, we will leave nothing for our children. I beg to support the report, Honorable Speaker.
Very well. Honorable members, I do not seem to see any more interest on this matter, so I will ask the mover to reply.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Allow me to thank the honorable members who have contributed to this debate. The many of them, Madam Speaker, you've heard that every member who has spoken to this issue has supported this report, and it is because of the significance of our natural resources. And Honorable Speaker, one thing that has come out very clearly is that we cannot allow people who want to benefit, or rather who want to put profit before human life. And since the polluters of our rivers are well known, Honorable Speaker, it is our hope that action will be taken against those that are polluting our rivers, so that we can safeguard the interests of the people of Kenya and even the generations that will come before us. As the Honorable Owino has said, the polluters are well known. They are the owners of companies and other enterprises, and they should be taken. They should be held responsible for the pollution that they have been putting into our rivers. So, Honorable Speaker, I move. I reply. Sorry.
You reply, yes. Thank you very much. Honorable members, I shall defer the putting of the question to the next appointed time. And honorable members, we shall reorganize the order paper just a bit. Allow us to do order number 15, then we shall go back to order number 13. So, Honorable Marianne, I'm told you in the committee, standing in for the committee, you have the floor. Wait for the order to be called.
Order number 15, motion, consideration of Senate amendments to the Cooperatives Bill, National Assembly Bill number 7 of 2024.
For Majority Leader, Honorable Keitany.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I beg to indulge you that we defer this matter because there are amendments that were brought from Senate and they are currently before the Departmental Committee on Trade, Industry and Cooperatives, and we haven't considered them yet. So we beg to defer this matter for a period of at least 30 days so that we can be able to look at them and come back to the House.
That is in order. We shall then automatically defer order number 16 until we are able to prosecute order number 15 at the right time. So, honorable members, we shall go back to order number 13.
Order number 13, the Fire and Rescue Services Professionals Bill, Senate Bill number 55 of 2023, second reading.
Honorable Chakapong.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise to move that the Fire and Rescue Services Professional Bill 2023 be now read a second time. Now, Honorable Speaker, the Fire and Rescue Services Professional Bill 2023 was published in the Kenya Gazette, supplement number 239 of 8 December 2023. Now the bill was forwarded to the National Assembly for consideration, pursuant to Article 110(4) of the Constitution, having been passed by the Senate on Thursday, 5th December 2024. Now, Honorable Speaker, the bill was read a first time in the House on 13 February 2025 and thereafter committed to the Departmental Committee on Regional Development for consideration and reporting pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 143. Consequently, Honorable Speaker, in accordance with Article 118, 1B of the Constitution and Standing Order 127.3. Now, the committee sought views from the public by way of written memoranda and further conducted public hearings on the bill. Organizations and institutions that made representations to the committee on the bill include the following. Now, A, the State Department for Special Programs. Now, B, the Office of the Attorney General. C, the Kenya National Fire Brigade Association. D, the Chief Fire Officers Association of Kenya. And E, written submissions from the Kenya Law Reform Commission. Now, Honorable Speaker, the committee noted various comments regarding the bill from the various stakeholders. Now, salient provisions of the bill, Honorable Speaker, that's the impact of the bill. Honorable Speaker, the bill seeks to establish a regulatory and institutional framework for fire rescue services professionals and provide for their registration, licensing, and training. It also aims to provide a uniform professional standard for the regulation of fire and rescue services professionals across all county governments. Honorable Speaker, permit me to highlight the important clauses in the bill. The bill contains 37 clauses and one schedule. As aforesaid, the bill seeks to establish a regulatory and constitutional framework for fire and rescue services professionals and to provide for their registration, licensing, and training. Now, Honorable Speaker, the bill further seeks to establish a board to regulate the fire and rescue services profession. In this regard, the bill proposes that the board shall consist of a non-executive chairperson appointed by the President, principal secretaries for matters relating to fire and rescue services, finance, technical and vocational education and training, 3 persons nominated by the Council of Governors, and 4 other persons nominated by professional firefighters, emergency responders, and private sector organizations. A registrar shall be appointed who will be the secretary to the board. Now, Honorable Speaker, the board is required to register the fire and rescue services professionals, license them, supervise, discipline, and ensure professional standards are maintained. Now, in addition, Honorable Speaker, the bill outlines procedures for registration and licensing of professionals, the recognition of training institutions, and the issuance of practicing certificates. It also creates offences for practicing without proper registration and establishes disciplinary mechanisms to address professional misconduct. Honorable Speaker, the bill further provides for the administration and funding of the board, including the appointment of a registrar who would oversee the day-to-day operations of the board and maintain professional register. Now, overall, Honorable Speaker, the bill attempts to introduce a system of professional regulation aimed at improving efficiency, accountability, and coordination in fire and rescue services across the country. Now, Honorable Speaker, the committee made the following observations and recommendations after listening to stakeholders and going through this bill. Now, Honorable Speaker, after considering the bill and receiving submissions from various stakeholders, the committee made several observations. The committee noted that although the bill intends to address an important regulatory gap in the fire and rescue sector, it contains significant governance, structural, and constitutional concerns that may hinder its effective implementation. Honorable Speaker, the committee observed that the proposed governance structure resembles that of a state corporation rather than a self-regulating professional body, which is inconsistent with the broader policy direction, encouraging professionals' autonomy and self-regulation of professionals. Now, Honorable Speaker, the committee further noted that the bill poses implementation challenges in that the bill does not establish an institute to oversee the affairs and capacity development of fire and rescue services professionals. Two, it does not center the board, it does not confer the board the mandate to appoint staff to support its functions and operations, though it makes the registrar responsible for staff. How would the board operate without a staff? Now, the bill does not grant the board any mandate to regulate fees charged by fire and rescue professionals. On this, the bill may create a risk of arbitrary, excessive, or inconsistent charges to the public. Now, Honorable Speaker, additionally, the committee also noted that the bill raises certain constitutional and procedural issues, including concerns relating to the manner in which the bill was introduced and its financial implications. Now, Honorable Speaker, in this regard, the committee noted that the regulation of professionals is a national government function and not a function of the county governments. This is well established in the Constitution and detailed in paragraph 7B of part 2 of the 4th schedule to the Constitution. Accordingly, the bill should have been introduced in the National Assembly in accordance with Article 109(3) of the Constitution. Now, further, Honorable Speaker, this bill meets criteria of a money bill, pursuant to Article 114 of the Constitution, and as such, it can only be introduced in the National Assembly pursuant to Article 109(5) of the Constitution. Now, Honorable Speaker, the bill is well-intentioned but contains significant structural and constitutional challenges. Honorable Speaker, having considered the bill and for the foregoing reasons, the committee recommends that the House rejects the bill in its entirety. Now, Honorable Speaker, in conclusion, I invite members to read the comprehensive report of the Committee on Regional Development in order to fully appreciate and enrich the debate. I further urge the members to adopt the recommendations of the committee as contained in the report. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move and call upon Honorable Basil to second. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Member for Athi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you to the Vice Chair. I'm actually a member of this committee. I rise to second the bill coming from that is the bill on fire and rescue services, professional bill 2023, to be now read for the second time, Madam Speaker. If you look at the bill, Madam Speaker, it has very good intentions in terms of regulating, bringing professionalism as well as standardizing fire and rescue services, Madam Speaker. And as a member of the committee, Madam Speaker, we did collect submissions from a number of stakeholders, including the fire, that is the stakeholders, including the chief fire officers, an association team who came to us as a committee, Madam Speaker, as well as submissions from the Kenya National Fire Brigade Association, Madam Speaker. And in reality, Madam Speaker, although the bill has some very potential benefits, which I've already indicated, for example, professionalization of the sector of fire response, Madam Speaker, as well as improving public safety, because if you talk of bringing some form of capacity building, professionalism within the fire response, we are talking of reduced fatalities and injuries, Madam Speaker, and also the clear regulatory framework which is being proposed by the bill, which is going to divide the roles of national government as well as county government, Madam Speaker, and reduce some form of duplication between the two levels of governance, Madam Speaker. And again, the bill proposes some form of accountability and oversight in response to creation of a regulatory body, Madam Speaker, which has already been indicated by the chair when he was moving the bill. And overall, the bill is supposed to create some form of motivation to the staff who are within the fire response mechanism. But potentially, the bill brings very solid challenges, Madam Speaker, and which explain why, as a committee, we suggested to reject it in entirety. And some of these challenges include operational cost, and that's why it's a money bill. And this operational cost will have detrimental effect, particularly to small counties, Madam Speaker, who cannot be able to raise the required cost to meet the standards that are being proposed by the bill, Madam Speaker, and also some form of governance conflicts within the layers of governance, that is the county government and also the national government. And when we looked to all this, Madam Speaker, as a committee, we did say that by considering Kenya does not have a law that regulates fires and disaster in a centralized manner, a significant gap in addressing the country ability to respond to fire-related risk. And as a result of this, safety is governed through multiple laws, Madam Speaker. And we do recommend as a committee that the bill being a money bill, pursuant to Article 114, Sub-Article 3 of the Constitution, the National Assembly should take into consideration some of the observations or some of the recommendations coming from the Budget and Appropriation Committee when making debate for this particular bill. And further, a money bill can only be introduced in National Assembly, Madam Speaker, pursuant to Article 109, Sub-Article 5 of the Constitution. And therefore, the bill should have been first introduced in National Assembly, not in the Senate. That is why, as a committee, Madam Speaker, we propose to this House to reject the bill and also to at least to have some revisions to the bill so that it can be able to align and be able to respond to the potential challenges that we observed as a committee, Madam Speaker. And with those few remarks, I do beg to second, Madam Speaker.
Very well. Allow me to propose, therefore, that the Fire and Rescue Services Professionals Bill, Senate Bill number 55 of 2023, be now read a second time. Member for Marakwet West.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, I rise to comment on the Fire and Rescue Services Professional Bill of 2023. Honourable Speaker, and I wish to state that I associate myself fully with the sentiments of the chair of the committee, which is in charge of this bill, my friend Honourable Chakapong, and he has done a tremendous job. Honourable Speaker, for the first time, the National Assembly is not a toothless bulldog. We are able to bite, and we are able to restate and to reaffirm And this bill must originate from this House. So, Mr. Speaker, if you look at our fourth schedule, part 2, in terms of regulating professionals, that is a mandate of the National Assembly. It is not a devolved function, and therefore we need to restate the mandate of this House by rejecting this Senate bill. Honourable Speaker, this bill does not establish a secretariat. If I have checked at the composition of the board, Honourable Speaker, under the clause 5 of the bill, if you look at the composition of the board, actually it looks like a parastatal. It says the board shall comprise of A, non-executive chairperson appointed by the President. Number 2, PS, ministry responsible for matters related to fire. Number 3, PS, ministry for responsible for finance. Number 4, principal secretary in the ministry for technical and vocational education. Number 5, 3 persons nominated by the Council of County Governors. And then 2 persons nominated by the association representing the largest number of professional firefighters in Kenya. Honourable Speaker, if you look at the composition, where is the room for self-regulation? In the Law Society of Kenya, this Thursday, we shall be having elections to elect the president of the Law Society of Kenya. This is a body, if I give an example, that is self-regulating. The members can elect their president. Their members can elect their officials. If you look at this, the composition of this board, it talks about, it already talks about established offices who are going to represent that particular professional body. So, Honourable Speaker, the bill is defective. Secondly, it doesn't provide for secretariats who will work or who will assist this particular body in terms of day-to-day running. So, Honourable Speaker, the bill is defective in substance, it is defective in form, and therefore should not be adopted or should not proceed in this House, because in itself, it flouts Article 109.3 of the Constitution, it flouts Article 114 of the Constitution, it flouts Article 109.5 of the Constitution, which provides, pass 1, and it was reinforced by the Supreme Court decision in the Senate advisory opinion that all money bills must originate from the National Assembly. So therefore, Honourable Speaker, I associate myself with the letter, the intent, and the spirit of the committee led by Mheshimiwa Chakapong in rejecting this particular piece of legislation. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Very well, Member for Funyula.
Honorable Speaker, thank you for this opportunity. First of all, when I saw the title of the bill, my heart almost left my chest. Because for one, the Fire and Rescue Services Professionals Bill. And let me admit, Honorable Speaker, I'm old school. And being old school, who went to school, high school or school, and you know where I went, because I don't want to, I don't want to annoy some people here. The professionals, even as defined in the dictionary, is some kind of a unique training that leads you to a certain level of professionalization. Honorable Speaker, by the time I was leaving the University of Nairobi to come to this parliament, I had not come across anywhere, any university that was teaching a course similar to this that can lead to a professional in firefighting. So again, on that score alone, even if I was going to be the last man standing, I was going to have called for the total rejection of the bill in its entirety. And let me also alert the Honorable Marakwet, East or West East. This is not the first time we are killing a Senate bill that's completely defective. I think the last time we killed 2 or 3 that were completely defective, total waste of paper and total of waste of legislative library. Honorable Speaker, as my colleagues have said, admittedly yes, under the 4th schedule, some parts of firefighting is a mandate of the county government, purely firefighting. But professional standards, regulation of the professional, and the rest of the things, Honorable Speaker, that's an exclusive mandate of the national government. Nobody can infringe on it because standards must apply equally throughout the country. So again, purporting to somehow find a way of creating this kind of thing is completely out of mind. Honorable Speaker, when you look at clause 7 of the bill, there's some of the functions of the board. Determine the fees chargeable by licensed fire and rescue services professionals in Kenya. From time to time, review and revise fees chargeable by licensed fire and rescue services professional firms in Kenya. On that alone, Honorable Speaker, is dead on arrival. Because money bills, the constitutional provisions are explicitly clear, and for once and for all, the Supreme Court has set the marker. So probably I would imagine this bill was processed before the Supreme Court pronounced itself, but even then, it should have just failed by virtue of being unconstitutional at the very beginning. Honorable Speaker, it is important, and I must commend the committee for flagging it out. You have saved us all the time we would have wasted. You go to the committee or main committee of the whole house and the rest of the things. And we want to send the message to Senate that our junior brothers, or whatever they want to call themselves, but let's spend more time on dealing with things that have got direct impact and enrich and entrench devolution. Not all counties in this country have even the capacity to have a firefighting department in their place. I doubt even if my own county of Busia has one, but I will check because I've never seen. When there are fires in our village, we know how to douse them. Probably the county government is too far. But Honorable Speaker, even if you look here in Nairobi, how many times have buildings been burned to ashes before even the firefighting equipped machine have arrived? Honorable Speaker, we must therefore develop a bill. Forget about professional practice and regulation. Probably develop a bill that deals with the standards on how to attend to emergencies and disasters caused by fire plus everything else. This is of no use to them. It's of no use to them. The counties will employ and train competent people to undertake fire rescue and put out fires whenever they start. You do not have to do something like this. It's of no use. Honorable Speaker, Let me commend the committee and I support their report and therefore I oppose the bill in its entirety. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Very well. Member for Waraka. Are you on this one? No, I'm waiting for the next. You're waiting for the next one. Wamushomba?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise from the onset having listened to my colleagues' debate to oppose this bill. Madam Speaker, as a woman leader who comes from a rural constituency, Githunguri, we are victims of what we call village fires. Madam Speaker, if you happen to visit my constituency, I have a special room where I have created a store for mattresses, blankets, and foodstuffs, not because I really would want to do that work as a member of parliament, but because the demand of such cushions keep coming, especially when it is hot, like between December and March. Unfortunately, Madam Speaker, every time we have this kind of incidences, we have very little support coming from the county government, not because they are not equipped to do so, but because there is no training that has been done to the locals to know how they can be able to implement some of the interventions that are required to take care of these kind of incidences. So, Mr. Speaker, when I see a house mandated to make laws, retreat into corners to make professional bodies of such kind of activities and interventions, it really confuses me. I'm not so sure whether this is what the House should be doing, whether we should be debating on how we are going to train our people, on how to do first aid services, rescue services, and use digital media, and use contemporary ways of fire intervention. Madam Speaker, I have visited many countries, especially when I became Member of Parliament, and I happened to visit one state in the United States of America where fires are intervened or fire cases are intervened using drones. And the community is so well trained on how to do and how to do it so that they can be able to coordinate the activities around the use of drones. And that means that that state has invested very seriously on issues of training and sensitizing the community. Today, Madam Speaker, if you come to my constituency when there is fire in the village, I'm not used to seeing men scream, but I see men screaming. Men traditionally are not supposed to be screaming. Women scream, but men are subjected to screaming like women. Why do they scream? It is because they have not been trained on what to do, how to respond to fires. You can imagine a head of the family screaming, and the wife is screaming, and the children are screaming. We all scream and stare at fires as they burn down our houses, as they burn down our businesses. Madam Speaker, just the other day I saw a very big fire at Kamakis as you go to the airport. And I saw men who ride bikes stare at the fire. They are holding their bikes. And by the way, Madam Speaker, the bikes are faces the risk of even catching the fire because they hamper petroleum products. And they were actually about 3 meters away from the fire with the bikes. And I was worried that fire could catch up with them. And all they could do was scream, Madam Speaker. Scream! Men screaming is really something out of our nature and our cultural practices. But we have reduced our men to that level because we have refused to train them, to sensitize them, to equip them with the knowledge and the skills that they require. So, Madam Speaker, I'll be very excited if we sat down here and asked about how we are going to make a bill in this House that is going to finance the national government, downscale the fire intervention knowledge and skills and equipment to our villages so that we can be able to stop the damages that the fires are ravaging in our countries. Madam Speaker, as we speak, I would also want to see a bill that is going to talk about compensation. For example, Madam Speaker, the last fires we had in my constituency in a ward called Kitengela, we lost 2 children. One was disabled, the other one was an unable child. And to date, nobody has taken responsibility. When we send people like Kenya Power to go and investigate and get to know whether the fault was on their end, we have never had any incidents where Kenya Power owns up and say that it is because of wiring problems or it is because of our transformer that exploded or any manner of their intervention that caused that fire. So we have had a scenario where nobody takes the blame of the village fires, especially in my constituency. Kenya Power doesn't own up.
Just to agree with you on Abu Mushomba,
Yes,
it is not just your constituency. Just today I've lost a child in a place called Kambimuindi in my constituency.
My fires.
You see, so it's a
Our sympathies.
I am agreeing with you.
Thank you. So we need to come up with a bill and get to know who carries the blame when a village fire erupts, or a slum fire erupts, or a factory fire erupts. Who carries the blame when we lose our loved ones into those fires? Who is supposed to compensate us, Madam Speaker? When an elephant gets out of Aberdare ranges, for example, Madam Speaker, and gets into your constituency and maybe causes death, we have a system, a legal system, a policy system that can help that family claim for compensation. But when it comes to fires, it's like we were born to be killed by village fires, and the national government doesn't seem to care. I don't blame the national government, I blame members of parliament. We have refused to make laws that are going to give a clear framework and guidelines on how we can follow up on such matters. So, Madam Speaker, for me, it's not about professional bodies about firefighting. We don't need professionals in the villages to fight fires. We need our villagers to be sensitized, equipped properly, taught properly, given the knowledge they require so that they can be able to take care of the fire incidences. And so, I reject the bill. Thank you.
Very well. Murugara, are you on this? No, you've just walked in actually. Honorable members, I don't see more interest in this specific bill, so I'll give Honorable Chakapong to reply.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to take this opportunity to thank the honorable members who have contributed to this bill, and also sincerely commend them for agreeing and accepting the report and recommendations of the committee. And honorable members, I want to say thank you very much for your comments and agree with us, and for that I beg to reply.
Very well. We shall defer the putting of the question on this specific bill. We'll go to the next order.
Order number 14, motion. Consideration of a petition regarding regulation of TikTok in Kenya.
Honorable Karamba, Chair, Public Petitions Committee.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that this House adopts the report of the Public Petitions Committee on its consideration of a public petition number 41 of 2023 regarding regulation of TikTok in Kenya, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 25th September 2024. Honorable Speaker, and to bring to speed the honorable members, there is this petition that was brought to the committee through the Speaker by one Bob Dolo, who sought to have TikTok regulated in the country. And Honorable Speaker, the committee, the Public Petitions Committee, acted on the petition and invited several stakeholders who included the petitioner himself, one Ben Dolo, the Ministry of Interior and National Administration, the Ministry of ICT, the Ministry of ICT and Digital Economy, also the Content Creators and Bloggers Association of Kenya, Kenya Film and Classification Board, Communications Authority of Kenya, Office of the Data Protection Commissioner, Law Society of Kenya, National Cohesion and Integration Commission, NCIC, Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, TikTok Management, and Honorable Speaker, initially one Bob Dolo had come to the Commission seeking for banning of TikTok, but thereafter, in his own submission, sought to step down the banning and sought for the regulation of TikTok. And Honorable Speaker, what made Bob Dolo come to this committee, in his own submission, he says that the petitioner declared that while it has gained popularity among the young people or the youth in Kenya, the content that was being shared on the platform was inappropriate, thus promoting violence, explicit sexual content, hate speech, vulgar language, and offensive behavior, which was a serious threat to the cultural and religious values in Kenya. Honorable Speaker, and you see, Honorable Speaker, this is coming at a time when in the last 2 days, in the social media space, there is a lot of discussion about a man who is said to have come from Russia, and who, in quotes, Honorable Speaker, has united the nation. And Honorable Speaker, uniting the nation in Kenya in the digital space is a person who is talked about by the entire country in the social media space. And Honorable Speaker, one Bob Dolo, in his petition, sought to have TikTok regulated, and so the committee sat and listened to all these stakeholders, and they agreed with him that we do not need to ban TikTok. What is needed is regulation of the same, so that what is consumed by Kenyans or by our parents is what is good for our country. So, Honorable Speaker, the committee came up with the resolutions, which I would like to go through, so that I also give members an opportunity to contribute to this matter. That the Ministry of Interior and National Administration and the Ministry of Information, Communication and Digital Economy collaborate to enhance user protection and cyber security on social media platforms, including TikTok, and report to the House within 4 months upon adoption of this report on 1. The mechanisms for enhancement of age verification on social media platforms and localization of Kenyan user data to be retained within the country, such as setting up of local infrastructure for data security by the platforms. 2. The digital literacy programs to create awareness on data privacy, processing, and storage, and community guidelines by social media platforms, including TikTok. 2. That within 4 months of adoption of the report, the Office of the Data Protection Commissioner engages social media platforms, including TikTok, and reports to the relevant committee of the House on levels compliance with the laws of Kenya, including the Data Protection Act 2019 and its attendant regulations. B. Details on the effectiveness of age verification and content filtering. C. Implementation of Kenya-specific supplemental terms in its privacy policy, considering the provision of the law and the social media platforms, including TikTok, have customized the data processing to comply with Kenyan laws. 3. That the Departmental Committee on Communications, Information and Innovation introduces an amendment to the Kenya Information and Communications Act, CAP 411A, to mandate the Communication Authority of Kenya to regulate social media platforms in the country. 4. That the Ministry of ICT and the Digital Economy monitor all social media platforms in the country, including TikTok, to address the concerns in their content moderation by 1. Or A. Auditing of the artificial intelligence AI moderation system to identify the loopholes to enhance continuous improvement of the system. B. Training of the AI moderation system in local languages in the country to ensure the algorithm is able to detect inappropriate content presented in the local dialects. C. Ensure adequate human contact moderators to ensure vast coverage of local dialects in moderating content from the Kenyan creators. D, ensuring the human content moderators have adequate psychosocial support. E, provision of information and reporting options to flag illegal and inappropriate content. And 5, that TikTok and other social media platforms without monetization policy introduces a monetization policy in the country to enable content creators to earn directly from their content. 6, notes that a total ban of TikTok is not tenable because it infringes upon fundamental rights and freedoms in this country. Further, a ban of social media platform would stifle social and economic growth and benefits of internet connectivity as the nation seeks to enhance its digital economy. However, the committee recommends that social media platforms, including TikTok, be regulated and periodic compliance reviews by the relevant state agencies be institutionalized. So, Honorable Speaker, I beg to move and request the Honorable TJ Kajwang to second.
Member for Waraka.
Madam Speaker, I thank you for giving me this opportunity, and I thank the chair of Petitions Committee for finding favor that even though I'm not a member of this committee, I'm called upon to second. I have read, Madam Chair, the report by the committee, which is before us, and I want to support it, and I want to second this motion. You see, question of TikTok is an important discussion which we must have, because we are leaders, and the Constitution has given us the mandate, especially of oversight. And oversight involves issues which concerns the people and for which the institutions are made. But we are also parents, and we have children. Those in my age, and I know the member for Tharaka is one of those who are in my age bracket, are raising. Owino is fairly young, but I think he could be in the general bracket where I am, and I'm sure yours faithfully is somewhere a little young, but floating somewhere. We all have teenage children. They are outgrowing and are becoming adults, but we worry every time. First, our responsibilities as parents to be able to instruct these children in the best way possible, lead them by example, and also nurture their spiritual selves. They may not all be Christians. They may not even believe. They could be even apostates. But every parent would wish that a child leads a spiritual life which is effective and which leads him or her to be a moral person who is effective in national building or building the world. And so the question of TikTok, we must speak about it. When you saw young people here who came to taste the food we had there and said that the pili-pili was not good enough, you could see some of the issues which they were raising and how they organized themselves and how robustly they debated. There was a disconnect between the leaders and the young people because the communication platform was not even. And so, if we don't discuss this and listen to it with the ear of a young person, we may not, we may miss the mark. You see, the question of TikTok raises pertinent issues for lawyers, for example. There is the question of data sovereignty, that every global world claims data sovereignty, data privacy. It is an integral part that if you want to live a dignified life with integrity, there must be an amount of privacy as a person that you must withhold. It even goes beyond gender privacy. It goes to human being. As a human being, you must be clothed by God-given rights to have privacy in terms of what data can be harvested from you, management of that data, custody of that data. But there is also a big question of national security. If we don't look at national security, we will expose ourselves to harmful effects that could very well undermine our security. And the question of mental health is real. We live with these children. Some of them are in rooms which we created for them. We built those rooms, but they lock those rooms until they cannot be able to engage with us. They come at midnight to look for food, and sometimes they don't even ask their mothers, because they don't want to interact with us because we do not have a platform which is equal to them. But mental health, it's a big issue. Children are now struggling with issues of self-harm. In those rooms, they can harm themselves. Sometimes because of the content that they consume, and without regenerating it within the society. So there is the real problem of self-harm due to these materials. So you wonder the legal question that I hear my colleagues asking, the duty of care. Where does the duty of care, which is a principle in issues of management of socio-economic affairs, the duty of care? It is a company in China, right? That company of China has done a wonderful platform that is now has gone across the globe. But does that company owe a duty of care to our children? Right? So the question of that duty of care and the legal burden is on that company, the Chinese company, to explain to what extent would it be answerable to harmful issues of the platform that they have. In most jurisdictions, we have moved, we are not, and I'm glad the committee is not prescribing banning, because banning, for example, in India, that is what they do in India, and in some of those, but they do it, and India is a very stable economy and a big economy, but they do it all the same. They have banned properly TikTok. They just banned it because of national security and so on. But I am glad that we are not moving in that direction, that we are moving in the direction of robust content moderation and regulatory control and oversight. We have to create an oversight deliberately to be able to monitor and to give our children things that are useful for them. I am told, I am not an expert on this, but Honorable Mugari tells me that there is something called filters. There is something which, there's a way in which they can filter this information so that not children, everybody, especially, for example, children under 16, should not be exposed to some of this. But again, they should also be exposed to education material, because they run those education material even on TikTok. Nowadays, we have CBC parents. We have come home and we are teaching children even through the TikTok. So we'd have to have a situation in which there are information which can be passed to a group of people, but cannot be reached by another group of people. African customary practice, and this is something which we as a people And adults in us and parents in us must speak about this clearly, even at the expense of being very, of children saying that we are too conservative. In an African customary practice, children must obey their parents. It is biblical. And you must say it at home. Even if children don't like it, we must say it. That they must obey their parents, because we also obeyed our parents. And this is how we seem to be. Now, I see that leaders, give me a few moments, I put together this, I'll just be finishing in a few seconds. Leaders are abused everywhere. Young people have no regard to leaders. In fact, it is a virtue to speak negatively to a leader. It is a virtue to abuse your parents. It is a virtue to expose your parents even to some things which are, sexual in nature, profane in nature, immoral things. They find it very laughable. African customary practice must be maintained, because I'm an African, because that is what I am, and I'm proud of it. We have to teach our children. They are not going to become Europeans. They are not going to be Chinese. They will still be Africans. So parents must speak with authority that...
1 minute, Honorable TJ.
We must speak by authority and say that there are things which cannot be done and things which must be done, because that is why we gave, we sired these children, and we are leaders for the time being until they become adults. So the question of cybersecurity, for example, the only thing that I wanted to bring out, I have seen recommendations made by the committee, but there is this recommendation saying in 280, for example, that Kenya Information and Communication be amended to mandate. I would have wished that you would have brought to us a text of amending that regulation inside this report, so that we just don't go back to the committee in charge of, we are going back again. You would have told us what section to add, so that we give the Communication Authority the power to be able to regulate this industry and to give us the content that we have. I think that because we have that constitutional mandate, so why are we still going around it? We should have come here and put in the report, and the next time we have a bill before us, so that we create an authority, we create a mandate within that authority to be able to regulate. I beg to second. Thank you so much.
Very well, honourable members, I therefore propose that this House adopts the report of the Public Petitions Committee on its consideration of the Public Petition number 41 of 2023 regarding regulation of TikTok in Kenya, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 25th September 2024. Minority Whip.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. And I just want to thank the committee for bringing this petition. And Madam Speaker, I'll try to be very brief. Madam Speaker, with the advent of technology, we have seen many new positive ways of doing things, even though it also has brought in a lot of challenges. Madam Speaker, as we speak right now, because of technology, I'm actually contributing in Parliament, but I'm also in class because of technology. But Madam Speaker, I can also say that it has also brought, if you give an example of AI, that when we're actually doing work in class, we don't know how to navigate around issues even of AI. Madam Speaker, for instance, when you put in my names and particulars, my usual names and particulars, it actually appears as plagiarized because I'm all over social media. So, and it's one of the things that we must, as a House, be able to deal with very quickly and very fast on how we deal with the technology. And I listened to Honorable TJ Kajwang talking also even on the issue of culture. And Madam Speaker, it is bringing very many challenging issues. For those of us who are born, who are now in our 50s and 40s, we have a totally different culture from the younger people. So when we speak about African culture, their culture is technological culture. For the younger people, their culture is technological, it's not African. And how do we then as a house deal with the issue that technology has brought to our doorsteps? How do we nurture and bring up our children within systems where other people, there's somebody in the US who is raising up your child through technology. And that is why we must be very brave as a house and confront some of the good things that it brings, but also deal, and we must deal very fast because technology changes very fast. And I'm glad that this person has raised, I know Bob Dolo, I'm glad that he's raised the issue of TikTok because a lot of the younger people are actually on TikTok. Madam Speaker, some of the good things that we have from TikTok is young people are able to socialize. Of course, it takes away, FaceTime, that we had some of us playing bladder, playing all manner of things. And these children no longer do that a lot because they are all in social media, they are all in TikTok. Madam Speaker, it also has provided employment for quite a number of Kenyans. For a long time, I didn't understand, and I'm very happy I was sharing it elsewhere, that I've actually contributed a lot to employment because I am caricatured a lot on TikTok. And before I understood actually how it operated, I would call people and say, I just want to thank you very much because you have really promoted me. They said, Millie, they are making money off you. So when I saw that, I said, it's okay, let them caricature me and make money out of me through TikTok. So it's a good thing, especially now that we have the issue of unemployment. Madam Speaker, it also provides civic engagement for the young people, which of course then can also, bring other challenges, like what we saw in 2024, that through civic engagement, young people were able to challenge Parliament, even on bills that we are passing. And then, of course, through TikTok and other social media platforms, they were able to even come right into Parliament. And Madam Speaker, those are, challenging times for us. Madam Speaker, it's also an entertaining platform. It's a platform information sharing and all that. But Madam Speaker, as a child protection expert, however, I just want to indicate that there are things that we cannot negotiate about. And we cannot negotiate about the issue of child protection. And for me, Madam Speaker, therefore, it means that the issue of explicit sexual content cannot be made available to young people. And also, there's predatory tendencies. I know that there are laws that are already providing for that, but we must be very clear about what age can access what information of young people. And Madam Speaker, it's not just explicit sexual content, but even a variety of things. For a lot of us, even in the Children Act, we talk about giving information to children depending on their evolving capacities. But in social media, we are not looking at children's evolving capacities. So we must be brave as a house, look at experts, look at, experts in this sector, look at experts in different sectors, because technology now we look at issues of law, we look at issues of child protection, we look at issues of technology, and a myriad of other issues. So we must be brave and confront them every single time. I think we need to be looking at these issues almost every month on issues of technology. Madam Speaker, I think because I see my time is up, I just want to say we must be careful, however, not to gag. If you could just give me 1 second, Madam Speaker, to conclude.
1 minute.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just wanted to say that even if you see the way this has now been spoken about the Russian person case, Madam Speaker, it also brings the issues of racism, because we need to speak to such issues, because there are people who want to exploit the vulnerability of poor African people by coming in here, seeing that women are so poor. People are thinking, and then because we have not nurtured and trained our people, that we are beautiful enough as black people, the moment you see a white person, you think that they are heaven on earth. And I want to challenge our women that we need to see our men in Kenya as good enough. Well, look at men in Africa, see them as good enough. Not everybody who is white is heaven on earth. I'm not saying white people, there's something wrong with white people, but we need to guard against certain forms of neo-colonization, where people come here and ridicule and shame African women and misuse them. If you have sex with somebody in private, why do you want to make it a public affair? It's not anybody's business. But that is why, Madam Speaker, I don't want to talk about the name regulation, because when you talk regulation, people misunderstand. But for sure, there are certain content that should not reach us. Madam Speaker, I see nowadays, sometimes you just click on something, suddenly you see young children having sex in pools. How is that even possible? Certain things should not even be regulated against young people. It should not come to my page if I don't want to see it. So there are certain things we must be very brave as a house and confront these issues head on. Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I support.
Very well. Honorable Morgan.
You have me. Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Madam Speaker, also allow me to actually support the report by the committee and allow the gentleman, Bob Ndolo, who brought this petition to us. Also allow me to allow the chairperson of the Committee on Public Petitions, Honorable Karemba, is here with me, and he's doing a good job. For a long time, we have had problems with that committee for reasons that possibly were known to all of us. But now the committee is on track, and Karemba is also a member of my committee, the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee. He never misses even one meeting. At 10 o'clock, we are together, we start with him, we finish, and then he goes to public petitions, and he does it very well. Note that I think he needs to grow in Justice and Legal Affairs Committee too, where he's doing a good job. Madam Speaker, it is true we should not ban TikTok. It's one of the social media arms of communication. I may not know a lot about it, simply because my age doesn't allow me to know some of these things that happen with our little children out there. But from what I have heard about TikTok, and what I know it does to young people, there is absolute need for us to regulate it. We can do this through statute, or we can go to our the Gentleman of Regulations Act, who makes petition, and we have regulations that will actually guide us on how this branch of social media is going to be handled. The stakeholders who came to this particular petition were all candid that there is need for regulation. Not even one would advocate for saving it away from a ban without regulation. Because if we don't regulate it, then we ban it. And there are some positive aspects of TikTok, including the youngsters who actually say they are language, that they are content creators, which content they create and they post it on TikTok, and through whatever means, I don't know what it is, they are able to earn some money. And we agree that the degree of unemployment in our country, it behoves on us to ensure that available money is tapped and used for the benefit of our youths. However, we should not derogate from our responsibility, as Honorable TJ Kajwanga said, we are Africans and we must protect our culture and cultural practices. Those practices include taking care of our children, giving them advice, admonishing them when need be, so that we are able to grow children, nurture children who are actually responsible citizens in this country. So here comes the government making certain recommendations through the chairperson of the Petitions Committee, which recommendations are useful and which you should actually support, so that as we use the internet, as we use ICT and the other modes of communication, then we do not expose our children to danger. We must also not abrogate our responsibilities as parents. As you hear Honorable TJ saying, these youngsters come home to the rooms we've set aside for them, lock themselves in there, you don't know what they are doing, and you don't hear or see them until the wee hours of night. And that cannot be a virtue. I think we should be more, as parents, involved in the growth of our children, so that we bring up responsible citizens away from some of these vices which come to us through TikTok and other applications we find on the internet. Therefore, I do support the recommendation by Honorable Karemba that we should regulate TikTok for the good of our country. I support.
Very well, Honorable Wandeto.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity to also contribute to this very important motion, and to say that from the onset I support the sentiments of the committee. And Madam Speaker, we live in a very lucky generation. In one generation, we have seen the advent of the internet, the smartphone, social media, and now AI. Madam Speaker, just remind you that the World Wide Web, as we know it, is just a 1991 invention. So, as a generation, very lucky. And these inventions have fundamentally reshaped how we live, how we parent, how we govern, and even how power is exercised, just like we saw in this country, in 2024. Madam Speaker, even thinking about banning TikTok would raise a few fundamental issues. One of it, Madam Speaker, is that this would be a complete violation of our Constitution, which guarantees freedom of expression. And, Madam Speaker, even if we were to ban TikTok, we would need to ban all the others, because the youth will just move to the other platform and to the other platform. And also, from a technical point of view, I know that there are very many workarounds. The same way people in China today use WhatsApp, although it's banned. People in India are using TikTok, although it's banned, because there's always technical workarounds around these things. The second thing, Madam Speaker, is the economic opportunity that we would be sacrificing through such a ban. It is important to note that TikTok, and indeed all other social media platforms.
Honorable Wandato, would you like to be informed by Honorable Mushomba?
I don't wish to be informed.
Continue.
Unless you insist.
Continue, do not expound on it. Just
thank you. Madam Speaker, the second issue is the opportunity, for revenues. Today we know that hundreds, if not, hundreds of thousands of our youth, and not just youth, including older people, are now deriving economic opportunity from the use of social media. And this has come in handy in an economy or a government that doesn't seem to have very good ideas on how to create jobs for the youth. The third one, Madam Speaker, is the economic opportunity. Today, just in this house, we passed the digital taxes, which now we have some of the multinationals that are in this social media platform, and even indeed some of our digital content creators, joining the formal economy and paying taxes. So, Madam Speaker, what we need to think about is strengthening regulation. Because as Kenya, we cannot go the route of countries such as Somalia, which I know has banned TikTok, countries such as Iran, countries such as Afghanistan and the rest, which are extreme cases which Kenya cannot borrow from. I think we should focus on three things, Madam Speaker. The first one is strengthen regulation. And the data protection, the Office of the Data Protection Commissioner needs to be strengthened to be able to have teeth to bite some of these companies when they are not properly moderating content. I am aware companies like Meta and even TikTok itself have local offices with moderators who basically are always looking at what our people are posting, and they are always checking and moderating what is happening. The second one, Madam Speaker, is we need to start a curriculum to also teach our children how to navigate this new world that we find ourselves in. So how do we ensure that we introduce part of the curriculum, mental health issues, even taking to our institution, so that our people also do not suffer a new addiction called social media. So, Madam Speaker, I will conclude by saying that we should not even think of banning. What we need to do is to strengthen regulation and governance around social media. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity.
Very well said. And just to guide you, Honorable Member Forteto, this report does not say ban. It actually says regulate. Yes, just to be on record. Honorable members, just to guide you, you have 5 minutes. Kindly arrange your thoughts so that you take the 5 minutes. I am seeing like you're being caught off guard, thinking it's 10 minutes. The next chance will go to Professor, member for Moiben, Professor Bato. What is happening to Professor? You have 2 microphones. Okay, now one.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to also make my contribution on this motion on the consideration of TikTok banning or not banning in Kenya. And I want to laud the committee for such a very elaborate presentation on TikTok. And Madam Speaker, I think it's not just in Kenya where we are grappling with such an issue. I think it is world over. Countries like America, USA, China, India, I think it's just a debate which is world over. And Madam Speaker, it takes me down memory lane once upon a time when the issue of mobile phones started, and also the issue of computers, and everybody was wondering how the world would be, how the future would be, and it became a big challenge. But now it is behind us. Phones are with us, computers are with us. I think perhaps what we need is a robust social media regulation in its entirety, so that we can comb out everything which affects us in its entirety in as far as social media. Madam Speaker, the other day I was looking through a PhD thesis for one of my students, and I sat down with a big document the whole day, and my son came and he was like, "What are you reading the entire day? What is it that you are looking for?" So I said, "I'm examining this thesis," and he said, "Can I have the evaluation tool?" I gave him the evaluation tool in soft copy and the thesis in soft copy, and within 5 minutes, he gave me an entire report on what I was writing. And surprisingly, it was almost similar with what I was doing. So I sat down and said, okay, how analog am I? I mean, these things are moving faster, and that is even what is happening in our classrooms. Even the National Examination Council now is having also challenges on how to examine our students. Even in the universities, in lecture halls, it's becoming a big challenge. It's a debate which we need not just do a supervision work, but we go deeper, because it is going to be there with us, and it is going to be there for a long time. And we are members of parliament, and it is in parliament where we make laws. So it is upon us now to sit down and come up with regulations, come up with laws which govern this media in its entirety, without also infringing on the Chapter 4 of the Constitution on the Bill of Rights, because it's also another story. So what we need to look at is maybe to censor content, look at the content and censor, protect minorities like, vulnerable people like children who become all the time as victims of media, because it is not possible, or it has reached a stage where it's not possible to manage young people, even if you are a parent. Like for me, I can be a mother and I have my kids, and there are some things, it reaches a time when they will just say, "Mom, you can't go beyond here," even if they are my children. So we need to put in place structures, maybe come up with a procedure on how to handle this, and that's what I say, a robust social media policy, and make it work for everyone. Look at even how to monetize it, so that people can make money and look at it positively, other than misusing it and maybe creating explicit content which is not good for our children, which is not good for us. I think if well regulated, it is going to take us to another level. It is not bad. It is something whose time has come, and it is high time we sit down and we look at it and see how we can benefit, and how it can boost communication and content creation, money making, everything. I think regulating it is going on the right direction, because it is going to be there with us for a long time, and we cannot run away from it. It is something which is not bad. It is good. It's only
very well. Honorable Dr. Makali.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to join colleagues in supporting this report of the committee. Honorable Speaker, I first of all want to thank the petitioner and thank the committee for changing the thing from banning to regulating the issue of TikTok. Honorable Speaker, I think many of us have said it would be unconstitutional if we were to ban, and it's good that now we are not talking about the regulation, but all said and done, Honorable Speaker, I think there are benefits associated with TikTok, even as we talk about the bad things to do with TikTok. One of them is sharing information, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, you realize that within a very short time, information is able to move from one corner of this country to the other corner through TikTok. Within a very short time. At the same time, Honorable Speaker, I've realized that very many of our young people are actually making money out of this. And this is good for the economy because of the level of unemployment. Most of our people have gone to school, they have several degrees in their pockets, but they are not able to access any form of employment or genuine employment. So, anytime they are able to make any coin from this TikTok, I think it's something worth supporting. The other thing I've also discovered, Honorable Speaker, because TikTok also brings some pictures, and that helps most of our people also to get to know who is who in terms of leaders and all that. But also said and done, there are also some negative parts of it, and that's why I support the word regulate. And I really wish that we become more serious on regulation. Because as Honorable Kajwang did say, I think we still remain Africans. And as Africans, there are things which are not part of our culture. It is not part of our culture, Honorable Speaker, to see people in their natural suit, irrespective of where. Whether you're an old man, whether you're a young person, we don't expect Kenyans to do things when they're in a natural suit. And I think that's something really, to me, anytime I look at those things, I feel bad as an African. So I think we need to encourage our people and tell them that at the end of the day, we still remain Africans. It's good to admire foreign culture, but we must realize that those things look unique to us, look funny when our parents, when our elders see these things. So the issue of regulating, Honorable Speaker, is a matter we really want to support, and I think we need to empower our bodies which can do that regulation, so that the content which goes out there, Honorable Speaker, even if they say make money, is also in line with our culture, and we don't really get this in blown out of proportion. So I totally support regulation. What I don't know is who is supposed to do that, and I think as we move to the future, I know we have the Communication Authority in Kenya and all that, but Honorable Speaker, you realize, even in the past, we have said there are movies which have been shown on television, on cinema halls, which should not be screened on the basis of age. I don't know what we will do to ensure that we factor in the age element, because to me what is critical age. There are things as honorable member can see and I will not mind. There are things which my son will see and he might not be comfortable with that. There are things which my mother, who is elderly, would see and she cannot believe. She will think this is a culture shock. So all these things, Honorable Speaker, I think what we need to do is we need to come up with a system whereby we can filter this information so that the information getting to the right different age groups is the right information. If we do that, Honorable Speaker, I think we'll be safe at home. At times, usually young children, you know, these days, I think it's part of the upbringing that anytime you go to a home, you find for the young ones to be fed, they are given a phone. They are either cartoons or watching those things, Honorable Speaker. And what is happening at times, you might be surprised at the kind of the content, because the content is not restricted. So we are saying basically, let's come up with a very strict way of restricting the content. And if we do that, Honorable Speaker, we will be taking care of the advantages of TikTok and also taking care of the disadvantages, or what I call content which should not be publicly be screened to every adult or to every young person. With those many remarks, Honorable Speaker, I support. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Mayaka.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I also stand to support the committee report on the regulations of TikTok. Honorable Speaker, for me, first of all, this is very exciting because I remember when the petition by Bob Ndolo first came to Parliament, all of us were really looking forward to get the views of the different stakeholders and to also have an opportunity to debate. And the reason, Honorable Speaker, why this is very important, and maybe just for context, is the economic value that comes with these spaces, and especially TikTok. Because, Honorable Speaker, when you look at TikTok, some of the top TikTokers, when you look at the top 10, they actually earn annually, in terms of Kenya shillings, 2 billion. With the guy who has the highest number of followers in TikTok, 650 and above, who is currently at a value of 20 billion in terms of his wealth, and that's from TikTok. So that shows you just how economically viable this particular space is. But also, Honorable Speaker, in as much as we do not want to be in a space where we are stifling innovation, we also want to ensure that the innovation is properly regulated. And Honorable Speaker, I've seen some of the issues that came through from the stakeholders and also from the committee members, especially when you look at the angle of the current regulatory space within which we are. Because there are two aspects to this. There's the human moderation aspect, and then there's the artificial intelligence aspect. And for us as a country, and the company that has the mandate to actually help us in regulating this space, the reports have shown that they have not been able to do enough. And one of the reasons, Honorable Speaker, is because when you look at the different laws we have within our country, including the KICA Act, when you look at the Cyber Security Act, all the regulations that we currently have do not speak directly to social media. And Honorable Speaker, I've seen the recommendations that have been done by the committee. The recommendations, if you pile up all the things that they actually want to be done in terms of the law infrastructure, it will take us a very long time. So for me, Honorable Speaker, I think the most viable recommendation will be an aspect of an omnibus bill, whereby the committee of CII can come with an omnibus bill that seeks to look at all the specific laws that involve social media regulation, because again, we are not just looking at TikTok. We do also have Instagram, we have Telegram, which has even more explicit material currently. We need to have a set of laws done at one go that are able to actually regulate all these spaces. And Honorable Speaker, the other thing why I agree with the members who say that we cannot totally ban TikTok is because the world is currently in the Industry 4.0, otherwise known as the fourth industrial revolution, that really supports the use of machine, the use of intelligence, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, so you cannot avoid this. But also, Honorable Speaker, the recommendations from the Public Petition Committee are very futuristic in the sense that the world is now going into the fifth industrial revolution, which seeks to ensure that there is an actual combination of artificial intelligence and human intervention working together for the social benefit and the ethical arrangement of the world. So for me, once we are able to actually do this and have this in place, as a country, we will be in the space of where the world is going into, the Industry 5.0. So, Honorable Speaker, I just want to join fellow members in also just supporting this and recommending that we do have the setup of these laws as soon as possible, so that we can have some of these issues that came into light cured. With those remarks, I support and I submit. I thank you.
Thank you. Moses Kirema, member for Central Imenti.
Thank you. We have seen it being addressed in foreign countries, and a number of countries are banning it, especially seen it being addressed in UK, India, and also in China, and also in America. And the origin of this TikTok issue is from China. But to us, see, a country like Kenya, the establishment of this social form of communication or form of giving and disseminating information to people like us by the youth is an essential or commodity. Because first and foremost, Madam Speaker, if you walk around the Nairobi streets on a weekday, you will be surprised the kind of the youth who are lining the streets, especially on Sundays, creating content, and those contents end up in the TikTok. And when they do the same, they earn some money, which at least if they are not employed, it creates jobs. It creates jobs for them. More than that, it helps to disseminate information to the other youths who are not yet exposed, and if it's used on the right manner, actually it's going to be a very big form of employment to our youth. It's not necessarily that a TikTok is used in a manner which is going to cause to be injurious to our youth or to our children. In one or the other, when it is used properly, it really becomes a benefit to the families. Because even the youth, especially now when we are facing a lot of hardship, the economic hardship and the lack of employment in our society, in the Republic of Kenya, TikTok is of much assistance. And mine is to say that we require prudent regulations. Regulations which, if they are used wisely, it will be able to manage and control what is poisonous to our children, and make sure that it is not really criminalized, but it's going to be managed in a way that it will not be able to, we will not expose the children to those what is not good. If you look at the things which we say that they are an African, or they are not culturally right, Madam Speaker, we should not forget that culture evolves. A number of things which you say, or which you look at them as if they are obnoxious, are this during our hard time in age. With the current generation, or with the current children we have, those who are between 25 and below, to them they are ordinary. And especially even when it comes to dressing, you know, sometimes back, you could not see a girl dressing with clothes which could not cover their knees. But these days, they dress to an extent that things are even, I don't know what is hidden and what is exposed, because it's all the same. So, to me, we should be able not to curtail the right of communication for our youth, trying to gaggle the TikTok issue. But the law should be applied prudently, especially when we look at the acts which exist. There is the Cybercrime Act, there is the social media rules and regulations to control the same, and as for that, those acts are in one or the other providing enough cover and protection to make sure that if they are obeyed and followed properly, surely TikTok can be able to exist. With those few remarks, Madam Speaker, I really support this bill.
Thank you. Member for West Mugirango.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this great opportunity to also support this report. From the chair of the Petitions Committee, with whom I share a sitting in JLAC, and this is his first report I am seeing. I have been underestimating his ability, but I am now convinced beyond doubt that the Petitions Committee is doing a fantastic job. Indeed, he does regard himself as one who can deliver such a fantastic report. Humility usually is with very clever people. Madam Speaker, technology is an enabler of every service delivery. And any technology, including the TikTok we are talking about, should only be regulated, not banned. And for that reason, I thank this committee for living with the times and for making the 13th Parliament a proud Parliament that would regulate any product that comes to this country rather than being selfish and slow-moving by thinking of banning it. When you look at other mainstream media, there is regulation through the Media Council. And as the mainstream media is regulated, so should be every media, including social media, including the TikTok. And I urge inventors, particularly those in social media, to rise to the occasion like the mainstream media rose and set up a self-regulation for themselves. It's unfortunate that it is Parliament now pushing for this regulation, meaning therefore that these inventors are not living the times. I have noticed that we are saying the social media unregulated is only dangerous to young persons. Madam Speaker, I think bad content is bad no matter the age, because it is not a license that once you are an adult, you go exhibiting your nudities and what is done in bedrooms and splashing them in social media. A bad thing is a bad thing for anybody, and that moral decadence should be stopped for all ages. Adulthood is no license for exhibiting immorality and annoying, particularly those adults who are not very likely to all the time be with their spouses. You can imagine how disturbing it can be for such married but unaccompanied adults. Madam Speaker, it is also important that through this regulation, every content gets ownership. You are all aware that cyber bullies take advantage of anonymity and unregulated environment to bully anybody they target, including political competitors. It is therefore important that through this regulation, every content creator takes responsibility. How I wish that we got a mechanism of licensing any content creator. We got a way to track who owns or who has created what content, and those who target defaming or adulterating people's reputation, they should be held to account. Madam Speaker, we must insist on this regulation so that those who are propagating their prejudices through religion, through other idiosyncrasies, such people should be made to account, and it is with those few remarks that I support. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Through you have learned there is a new category of married and unaccompanied people. Member for Nyeri Town. Honorable Marengi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise to support the report of the committee recommending that we